This is crazy. Hi guys, it's me and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am back. It's been so long and a lot has changed, guys. A lot has changed. I literally was like, you know what, I'm gonna go back to YouTube today. Life is just so different. I have so much more to share now than just makeup. By the title, I already know, you know what this video is gonna be about. Because of how many questions I get asked, like literally about this, I'm like, you know what, let me just make a video and you guys can always go back to it and watch it whenever you want. My name is Talma, if you don't already know, and I am the founder and owner of Core London, which is a luxury beauty brand. We launched literally 3 and a bit years ago, and ever since then this brand has blew up into an amazing reality that first started off as a dream. Couldn't have done it without God. I'll quickly introduce or quickly give you guys a story time of how I started. So let's zoom back all the way to 2020. I had just finished uni at the time, or I was just finishing uni, should I say. The kind of questions that come in your mind is just like, what's next for me, Lord? Like, honestly, what's next? I studied biomed, as most of you probably already know, and I knew that this was like something I loved, but it wasn't something I could see myself doing like forever and ever. Was it in that moment that God spoke to me? He was like, start a business. The first and only thought that came to me at that point was start a beauty brand. Me and my little self went to start doing research on how actually practically I can make this come to life. And I remember I was looking online for suppliers, manufacturers, and I remember there was loads of American girls. I really didn't have anyone that could kind of represent my vision in the UK. So at this point I was like, you know what, God, you're gonna have to guide me through it. And that's literally how I started my business. At first we started with the name Milani Lashes. So cliche. I remember I was super happy with that name. I was like, you know what, my brand is gonna be pink and silver. Da-da. This was my old brand. This was my old brand. I had actually got this logo created for me by someone, and I remember when I had received the logo, I wasn't happy with it at all. It just didn't align with like where I was kind of going with my brand. As you guys can see, it's this holographic type of like vibe, and I'd asked the person to kind of match that with my brand, and this just didn't eat. I was so distraught, I'm not even gonna lie to you. It really kind of put like a damper on the idea that I kind of had, and I was like, you know what, God, maybe this isn't for me. It was at that point when I had started to go through the process of like really sitting down and thinking about branding, how aesthetically I wanted my brand to look, that God really started to shift my mindset and was like, listen, this isn't what I've called you to do. And as a Christian, as a woman of God, we're actually called to stand out. We're actually called to not fit in. So it was at that point that God really started to let me meditate on what actually do I stand for as a brand. And then in making my brand or making my name, the word core, which is an original French word for hearts awake, which is the specific phrase I had seen, it means hearts awake. It was just like awakening of your heart. And for me, when I read that, that was like kind of like the ding part in my whole finding my brand story, I guess. And I was like, yeah, this is it. This is the word. This is what I really want to do. I feel like this is what God has called this brand to be. And so we ran with it. We switched it up a bit, like made it like nice, make it look nice, and it became Core Lashes. This is the second prototype of our brand at this point, and this actually was what we launched with. So this was a big hit. We loved like the brown aesthetic. You guys can see it's all tattered and broken now, but we loved the aesthetic. It had Core Babe at the bottom, and then it was Core Lashes. Now at the time, God was still speaking to me about expanding and not to be so small-minded. So I was like, no, I don't want it to be just lashes. I want to one day expand. So for me, changing the name to fit this was something that was quite done very early on in the process of making my brand. And shortly after, it became from Core Lashes to Core London, which just encapsulated everything that I would want to do in the future. Fast forward to the launch was very successful. Everyone absolutely loved the idea, and then the buzz died down, and I was like, oh, like, what am I gonna do here? Like, for me, I was just like, okay, God, listen, wherever have taken my eyes off of you, you know, and have either kind of like run after or tried to fit in any areas, Lord, forgive me, okay? It picked up very fast after I realized, okay, this is actually something I care about, and it wasn't just a phase. No, actually, this is my calling. I really feel called in this area to really impact many girls around me using my business. Yeah, that's how we kind of really started with the brand. A very long-winded story, but a necessary story so that you guys know that there is a background to having a successful business, and it's not all rosy all the time. There is like downsides, and you need to be okay with that, and it's okay to have the downsides, and it's okay to be real. And that's what I intend to be here, guys. Really real and raw about just the processes of being a business owner. So what you guys have been waiting for, 5 tips of how you can start your own business. And I always want to start with tip number 1. Your brand is more than a logo. Okay, this is something I consistently get asked about, and everyone always asks, how did I get from here to here to here? How did I get from there? And it's just understanding your brand aesthetic. What exactly do you actually want to portray? If you think about like big businesses like PLT or Chanel, let's compare both of them. Why are they different? What would you point out that makes them different? This is the things you need to start thinking about at the very early stages of your business. You need to understand what your aesthetic is. You need to understand why you're doing it a certain way. You need to understand what your target audience is. PLT is for like maybe younger people like myself, whereas Chanel maybe caters to like a more grown, maybe the people who have a bit more funds, and that's fine. These are 2 different brand aesthetics, but what makes them so unique is what they stand for. Really understood their brand, they've really understood their aesthetic, they understand their target audience, they know exactly how to get to who they need to get to with their brand, and they've made the brand talk for itself, if that makes sense. You really want to make sure that you focus on how your brand feels, because in the long term, this is what's going to really take people who don't know your brand into people who want to be buying from your brand all the time. It's how do you make them feel? What processes are you taking them down? How is your aesthetic speaking to them? Does it speak to a specific pain point? Is there an experience that you want them to experience? Is there something in your brand that they are desperately looking for, that they can't find anywhere else, that your brand is the answer to? These are the things you need to think about. It's so important. If I could literally stay on this topic forever. There's so many different dimensions to this. There's so many different things, but for the sake of time, you just need to know that your brand is more than a logo. It's an aesthetic. You are selling a lifestyle. You are selling an experience, and that's exactly what you want to do when you're creating your brand. The second thing I wish I knew before I started my business is that your family and your friends are not your target audience. Hello. I need to shout this one for you guys. I need to shout it for you guys, because for me, for some reason, I thought, listen, I'm gonna get my 5 figures for my friends and my family. They're gonna get me, and some people till this day still have not ordered. And listen, one thing I think people don't really understand is that business is business. Your first customers most likely are not going to be your friends and your family, especially if you're doing something that doesn't cater to this. And that's okay. It's okay. Listen, I said it. It's okay. They do not have to be your first customers, and that's okay. This is why finding your target audience is so important, because if you just rely on the fact that, oh, my friends are going to buy, no, my family's going to buy, no, my mom are going to buy, it's not going to do well for you long term, because eventually they're going to stop buying, my love. You want to make sure that you're able to market to people beyond them. Knowing your target audience allows you to understand your pricing strategy that you're going to do, because obviously if you're selling for people who are babies or younger, like 16, they're not obviously going to have the financial capability to afford something that maybe a 30-year-old woman can do in a full-time job. So really understanding your target audience is super important. I feel like for me, I really didn't understand that in the beginning and tried to do a cater to all kind of method, and it didn't work for me. It really didn't. And I thought that, oh yeah, no, I'm gonna get my first 5 figures for my friends and family. No, Miss Girl, no. Okay, I wish I could go back and just be like, hello, it's not your friends and your family. There's going to be outside people who are going to support, and that's so beautiful. To think that you can place a brand in front of people you do not know and then be your biggest supporters, that's so beautiful, you know. And you don't have to, that doesn't have to be a fear. It really doesn't have to be a fear. And not taking it personal if your friends and family don't purchase. It's actually fine, you know, because at the end of the day, it is just business. Third, and I think one of the most important tips that I have to give you guys in this whole video is you do not need a million products to start. Oh, I wish I could just leave right now. Listen, you do not need a million products to start. The first mistake I made, I think one of the biggest mistakes I made, was stocking up too much. Let me tell you what happened, okay? Let's have a little bit of a gist session just for a hot sec. So when I first started my business, I remember just speaking about my lashes. At the time, they were 25mm. So everyone at the time loved a 25mm, okay? We talking about the spiked lashes. I can even insert a video and show you guys what I'm talking about. But literally, I would wear these lashes and everyone would be like, where you get your lashes from? And I was like, you know what? That's where we're gonna start. So what I went to go do, your girl went to go buy 50 plus lashes in 25mm. Fast forward a year later, when I actually launched, it's crickets. I'm telling you guys, I got like pre-orders, people who are giving me their emails saying that, listen, when you drop, I'm ready to buy. I got like 20 emails. I'm telling you, not even one bought. Not one bought my lashes. And this goes back to just reinforce this point of not spending too much on stock. You do not know it all, my love. You do not. You do not know what's going to work out in the next 1 year. You do not know even what's going to work out in the next 3 months. Things are always changing, especially with makeup. You'll see a lot of things are trends now will die in the next 3 years, or in the next year even. So you really want to be able to maneuver, to be able to pivot, so much so. In addition, guys, these lashes, I want to go ahead and buy 50 something different lash boxes of these, just to tell you guys how bad it is. And this is just, I'm so passionate about this point specifically. Whenever I say any, like, even just one tip is do not stock up too much, because you will literally tie down your business thinking that an idea was going to be so unique, so beautiful, so luscious, and nobody will buy it. Business is about trying things out, testing the waters. A wise business person goes out first to try something, see if it works. If it does work, continue to do what that has proven will work, and focus on one great product. Don't be in a rush to kind of do a whole collection. If you just focus on one great product and you maybe try products in a small scale, and you find that one product that booms, continue to scale that one. But you need to start small with everything, because you really want to do a testing type of like method to your business. You never want to go all full throttle and then find out at the end of the day that it didn't work out. So yeah, if I could advise anything, I keep saying it would be that point. My fourth point would be consistency equals perfection. Listen, the more consistent you are, the more perfected your method of doing things becomes. You don't need the best logo, you don't need the best website, you don't even need the best packaging on day one. You just need to have a good enough packaging that will represent your brand to a good enough extent. And this comes in with that money. You obviously don't have enough money at the beginning of your business to invest in the greatest of websites or packaging in the world. And we know that. That's okay. That is what the business process is. And that's the beauty of growth. But staying consistent is what's going to lead you into perfection, or a perfected idea of your brand. Because it's at that point when you learn along the lines that actually people prefer this, or you learn about psychology of colors and how colors can portray a certain vibe, so on and so forth. All of these things that are important for a brand aesthetic, you just have to learn it along the way. There is no one that can teach you from the very beginning that, listen, this works and this is it and this is how your brand is going to be for the next 10 years, because that's just not realistic. Every brand at some point needs to pivot around, but it all comes in consistency. It all comes in being consistent, showing up, and along the lines, your brand idea will become more and more clear as we go down the line. So I just want to encourage you, just start and stay consistent, and never be afraid of where you are. You know, people will love you even at your beginning stages, and people will love you even when you were grown. So don't feel like you have to be so perfect. And I think this even leads into my next point, which is stop waiting for the perfect time. Listen, there is no perfect time to start your business. I think the reason why my launch process took a year and a bit was because I was so in my head. Although I do thank God, because at the end of the day, this was nowhere close to what I could have produced when I did this. Like, it was nowhere close to it. But I wish I was a bit more easy on myself. Like, I really was so hard on myself, you know. But obviously, apart from the fact that I knew genuinely wasn't what God called me to do, sometimes where you start is where you actually need to start, you know. And there is no problem starting where you need to start. Like, you do not have to think you have to have everything in place. Of course, do your research, make sure you're well prepared for every hurdle that can possibly come, which is why you're watching this video. But it's as much as you can prepare. I've learned so much more being on the journey than when I just began. Do you get what I mean? So there was just so much information and knowledge out there that you can only learn once you've made mistakes, once you've made that you can pivot, and that only comes with your own personal experience with business. You know, you can watch this video 10,000 times and watch a million other videos 10,000 times, but walking through the process of having a business, what is the best teacher you can have? Chances are your idea is already a great idea. Maybe not like my own story where like my idea just wasn't cutting it. You know, you really want to do your competitor research. You want to go out there and see what's working already, and then go ahead and come back to the drawing board and say, how can I improve this process even more? That's exactly how your mindset should be when entering into business. Okay, I can see there's a million and one Cool Londons out there, or Fenty Beauty, or Chanel Beauty, or whatever they are. So many different brands out there. How can I stand out? Who is the target audience that is not currently being met? You need to do your research. This is competitor research. So look at what is working for people, but what isn't working for them, or where is there a gap that can be filled? You know, that's how great to business-minded people think. They go in and fix a problem. They go in and provide a solution. And that's how I came up with my product, which was our lip gloss. My lip gloss has an inbuilt mirror and light, and for me, when I was doing my competitor research, I was listening to people. It was like just people's pain points, and people were just saying they want something pigmented, they want something they can use out, and also creating something that kind of like allows people to even use products in dark. Like, that's crazy. Like, nobody really has really thought, or I don't really see any other kind of business doing like a lip gloss that can be used in the dark and that has an inbuilt mirror. So you really take time when creating your products or looking at products that you can possibly sell, and make sure that you're solving a problem and you're really thinking about the long-term use of that lip gloss. And that's why our lip gloss continues to be the #1 seller in Cool London, because we fixed the problem. We not only made it look pretty, but we fixed the problem. We made it pigmented. People are looking for specific shades of nude. We provide the specific shades of nude. People are looking for different shades of you know, lip oils, whatever it may be, blushes. They're looking for something pigmented, and that's what we do. We do the pigment, we do the high quality, but you don't want to break the bank. That's exactly where we come in. So this is what you have to really come and really think about. When I was thinking about my brand, I was like, I want to attack each of these pain points, and these are the things that we continue to run on, and that's why our business is doing so well so far. Yeah, I just feel that one real bad, which is why I'm going so hard on that. But yeah, I just pray that this video reaches whoever it needs to reach, and that you know that you're not watching this by accident. And to be honest, guys, I have which is on to my next exciting announcement, I have been thinking about opening a mentorship for 5 bright young ladies who want to really embark on this journey of having a business. I know for myself, I didn't have anyone who could guide me through how to have a business, where to look, how to find vendors, really addressing the things that were in my mind. I really had to do so much research, when if I just had one like big sister kind of like figure in my life, it would have made things so much more easy. So if you believe that you have what it takes, and you just need a bit of guidance, you just need a bit of mentorship to walk through the process of opening a business, launching it, scaling it into 5 figures in the next 6 months, and you're really serious, this is for you. I'm gonna leave some more details in the bio, so make sure you guys check it out. But if not, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and that it was really valuable to you. Honestly, guys, I will be doing more videos like this, so really stay tuned. This is my brand, guys. We can get you from here to here very soon, and just have a consistent aesthetic, which I think a lot of people struggle with. Like, how did you create your logo? I intend to teach people that along the process, and even have more videos on YouTube for free about this. So make sure you guys subscribe, because I feel that this was not going to be my first and last video about business or anything relating to business. So if you guys have any specific questions, or you want me to do a video on anything at all, really, honestly, just let me know in the comments down below. And yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you guys like, comment and subscribe. Oh my, like, comment and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.